Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're tackling one of the biggest, most powerful shifts happening in AI right now, AI agents. And trust me, this is a huge leap. We're moving way beyond just asking an AI a question. We're talking about AIs that can actually do things for you.
So you've probably played around with chatbots, right? You ask a question, you get an answer. Simple. But have you ever felt like you're the one doing all the work? Like you have to keep poking and prodding it with new prompts just to get what you actually need? Well, that's exactly where AI agents change the game. They're built to do all that heavy lifting for you.
And really, that's the fundamental difference right there. On one side, you've got your standard chatbot, what we call a non-agentic AI. It's kind of forgetful, It needs constant input, you have to guide it every single step. But on the other side, you have agentic AI. This is a total game changer. Instead of you having to hold its hand, it can take a really complex goal, figure out the steps all by itself, and then just go do it.
Okay, so the big question is, how? How does an agent actually manage to do all this? Well, let's follow one on a mission and see how it works under the hood.
So let's imagine you give an AI agent a pretty tricky open-ended goal, something like, hey, plan the perfect surfing trip to Greece for me sometime in the next year. I mean, think about that. That's so much more than a simple question and answer, right?
So, the agent doesn't just panic and start spitting out random flights. No, it's smarter than that. It starts by making a plan. The first step is something called task decomposition, which, is a fancy term, but all it really means is that it takes your big goal, that surfing trip, and breaks it down into a bunch of smaller, bite-sized tasks.
But right away it hits a snag, a big one. The language model that powers this agent, well, it's smart, but it doesn't know everything. It was never specifically trained on, say, real-time Greek weather patterns or the nitty-gritty details of what makes a perfect wave. So its own internal knowledge, it's just hit a dead end.
And this is where it gets really cool. To get past its own limitations, the agent uses a special ability called tool calling. Basically, it realizes, hey, I don't know this stuff, and then, on its own, it decides to reach out and use external tools. It might tap into a live weather database, run a few web searches, or maybe even chat with another AI that's an expert on surfing. It's figuring out how to find the information it needs.
Which brings us to the final, crucial step, learning. See, the agent doesn't just plan your trip and then wipe its memory. Nope, it remembers this whole conversation. It saves the info it found, the plan it created, and any feedback you gave it. Why? So the next time you ask it to plan a trip, it's already a step ahead, way smarter, and it knows you a little bit better.
Now, it's super important to know that AI agent isn't just one thing. It's actually a whole spectrum, a range of different systems, from things that are surprisingly simple to stuff that is mind-blowingly advanced.
Okay, so let's start at the most basic end of the scale. We've got what are called simple reflex agents. These things are all about simple, pre-programmed rules. Think, if this, then that.
They see something, they react, and that's it. They have zero memory of the past. A perfect example? A basic thermostat. The kind that just follows one rule. If it's 8 p.m., then turn on the heat. It's not thinking, it's not remembering what happened yesterday, it's just reacting.
All right, let's take one step up the ladder to model-based reflex agents. The huge upgrade here? Memory. These agents actually build a little internal model of the world around them, and they update it as they go.
Your robot vacuum cleaner is a great example. It's not just bumping into a wall and turning around randomly. No, it's building a map of your room in its memory so it knows where it's already cleaned. That way, it's way more efficient and doesn't get stuck in the same corner over and over again.
Okay, now things get a lot more interesting. With goal-based agents, we move from just reacting to actually being proactive. These agents don't just respond to what's happening now. They can plan for the future. You give them a specific goal, and they'll figure out a whole sequence of actions to get there.
The GPS on your phone? That's a classic goal-based agent. Its goal is to get you to your destination, and it's constantly searching and planning the best series of turns to make that happen.
But what if you don't just want a good solution? What if you want the absolute best one? Well, that's where utility-based agents come in. They don't just find a way to the goal, they find the optimal way. They do this by trying to maximize what's called utility, which is just a score for how successful an outcome is.
Think of it like a GPS on steroids. It's not just looking for the fastest route anymore. Now it's juggling multiple things at once. Is this route better on gas? Does it avoid expensive tolls? How bad is the traffic? It weighs all those factors to find the route that gives you the best overall value.
And that brings us to the top of the food chain,
learning agents. What makes these so special is that they can get better all by themselves over time. They actually learn from their experiences, update their own knowledge, and adapt to new situations.
You see these everywhere. You know those personalized recommendations you get on shopping sites? The ones that seem to know exactly what you want? That's a learning agent in action. It's watching what you click on, learning your tastes, and getting smarter and more accurate with every visit.
And look, this stuff isn't just some sci-fi theory or something that's coming in the future. AI agents are already out there, in the wild, being used right now.
And they are incredibly versatile. I mean, we're seeing them pop up as super smart virtual assistants in customer service. They're in healthcare, helping doctors come up with treatment plans. They're even being used in emergency response for things like disaster rescue. And in the world of business, they're analyzing financial markets and optimizing these massive, complex supply chains.
But of course, with any tech this powerful, you have to look at both sides of the coin, right? There's the incredible promise, and then there's the very real peril.
Let's start with the promise, because the benefits are pretty amazing. We're talking about the ability to automate incredibly complex tasks and do it at a massive scale. When you have multiple agents working together, they can collaborate and pull information from all over, leading to way better performance. The answers and solutions they come up with can be more complete, more accurate, and more personalized than anything we've had before.
But the risks are just as big. I mean, just imagine an agent getting stuck in some kind of infinite loop, just burning through a huge amount of computing power and money. Or what about the huge data privacy and security questions that pop up when you plug these things into sensitive company systems? And here's a scary thought. A single tiny flaw in one agent could cascade and cause a total system-wide failure. These are not small problems we're talking about.
So, when you boil it all down, it really comes to this. AI agents have the potential to completely automate our world in ways we're just beginning to imagine. But as they get more and more autonomous, the conversation has to shift. It's not just about what they can do anymore. It's about how we can build and manage them responsibly. And that leaves us with the biggest question of all. Are we actually ready for them?